perfectly respectable sermon on evangelism in front of me. But I'm not going to do that sermon. It's a B plus at best. But I've been just moved by the readings. And as I shared with your pastor yesterday before we having a conversation, now that I've announced my resignation, there's nothing more dangerous than a retiring bishop. So, put your seats in the upright position, your tray tables, fasten your seat belts. Let us pray. Lord, somehow through my imperfect words and through our imperfect hearing, let the light of your gospel shine into our hearts and set our hearts on fire. Amen. Amen. From Isaiah, we just heard, woe is me. I am lost, for I am a man of unclean lips, and I live among a people of unclean lips. Yet my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. If we look at the lessons this morning, and I really hope that there's going to be a payoff at the end of this sermon, but hang with me. If we look at the lessons, we find Isaiah, Paul, and Peter all in one way, shape, or form saying, woe is me. I'm lost. In fact, if you look at the Hebrew here, when he says, I'm a man of unclean lips, that can mean one of two things. He's a notorious liar, or he cusses a lot. Our neighbors in Savannah got me a Christmas present this year, and it's this little thing you hang on the wall that says, I love Jesus, but I still cuss a little. See, they've seen me and heard me out in my yard doing yard work. So they thought it was really nice that they would give, they're also Episcopalians, by the way, give their bishop a little thing to hang on his wall that says, I love Jesus, but I still cuss him. So Isaiah comes to this call as a notorious liar or a person who's known for his foul mouth.
Notorious liar.
Right? Of a man of unclean lips. It's not that, he is just the Garden Variety Center. His own acknowledgement here is that he's a person who is somewhat known in the community as being a liar, or at least a man who cusses a lot. Okay? That's number one on the hit parade. Then we get to Paul, who says in 1 Corinthians 15, as to the rest of the church, I'm simply known as the persecutor. And we know from looking at the Acts of the Apostles, to follow Paul's trajectory, he wasn't just a persecutor, he murdered Christians. Or maybe he didn't do it actually himself, but he set them up. And we know that when he was on the road to Damascus, when he had his conversion experience, he was going to Damascus to round up Christians and to bring them back to either be jailed or killed. Number two on that parade. We got Isaiah, and we got Paul. And then we have Peter in today's gospel, who, after working all night with his fellow fishermen, come ashore, and the last thing he wants to hear from Jesus is go back out. And he says, Lord, we've been working all night. We have fished the lake of Gennesaret. There's just no fish out there. And Jesus says, go back out. He says, really, Lord? It's kind of like mansplaining to Jesus. You don't know anything about fishing, Jesus. Right? But he goes back out there. he catches all the fish. So much so that he needs all the other fishing boats around the lake to help him gather all the fish in. And then he falls on his feet in front of Jesus and says, "Woe is me." Just like Isaiah, "Woe is me. I'm a man of unclean lips. I too got it wrong." Number 3 on the parade. So 3 of the great titans of Scripture, Isaiah, Paul, and Peter, are basically royal screw-ups. Welcome to church. Welcome to church. You see, part of our problem is that we think Christianity is a set of things we must learn to achieve if we're going to be any kind of good Christian, right? When I was first coming into the church as a teenager, I was kind of not raised in church. We got a saying, I won't go with girls who smoke, drink, or chew. Think about that for a minute. I was raised in Appalachia, what can I say? So Christianity was primarily a thing of the things you didn't do. Right? You were defined by what you didn't do, so what you did. See, we have it so backwards. We think Christianity is a set of rules to follow, rather than an invitation from God to share the very heart of God. And that's what Christianity really is. It's an invitation for you and me to throw up our hands and say, "Lord, I'm tired of playing the game." Because we do that with God all the time. Here's my ace of spades of good behavior. Here's my king of hearts of helping the little lady across the street. Look how good I am, Lord. Don't you love me for how good I am? And Jesus looks at us and says, "Put away the cards. You're not playing with full deck. Just give it up. You can't play this card with me. Because I know you, Scott. I know you. I know you better than you know yourself. I know who you are. And yes, most of the time you are a beloved, faithful bishop. But other times you're not. And I'm going to look at the whole thing and say, I love the whole mess that you are. And I forgive the whole mess that you are. And I invite the whole mess that you are to take whatever you have and offer that up. To participate in the very heart of God. And that's what God is calling you to do as well. To recognize that if Isaiah and Paul and Peter were such screw-ups, then your screwing up is not even close to theirs, right? I mean, how many of you murdered Christians recently? Right? Don't answer that. Don't answer that. This is being recorded. You don't want me to know. That's a confession. The police will be here. Court for the rest of the year. So, we tend to look at this and we say, how can I be like them? And I'm saying, don't try. You got your own stuff, they got their stuff. You see, God does not call the qualified. God qualifies those who are called.
I just got recorded.
You're not qualified to be a disciple of Jesus. And neither am I. But God calls us anyway. Now, we may question God's judgment. Clearly, God could have done it better than, look at the early church. Not the brightest bulbs in the attic. Peter and Paul, the rest of those guys, pretty bad. But from that, God's grace abounded. And Paul says, in that 1 Corinthians passage, I am what I am. But I am what I am by the grace of God. And you are who you are, wonderfully made, but more wonderfully redeemed in Jesus Christ. By the grace of God, you are who you are. Amen. So God will take you as you are. God loves you just as you are right now. Not when you get your act together. Not when you get your PhD in Christianity. But God loves you just the way you are, right where you are, right now. And God calls you, and God calls me, to lay our cards on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And acknowledge we're not playing to fill that. And offer what we have, whatever that is, to the Lord God. And the good news is God will take that. God will take the mess that you are, and God will take the mess that I am, and God will do something with that mess that is glorious and miraculous and beyond our imaginations.
Amen.
But God wants to participate with us. You see, God wants us to take even the meager that we have and offer that. God always seems to have the same purpose of remnant throughout Scripture. You got one screw up, one mess up after another. And what happens? The church still grows and abounds. And it can't be because those men and women were the smartest, most talented people. Clearly, they were not. It wasn't that they were the morally pure, because clearly they were not. Most of the Bible is R-rated for a reason. They were fools, they were sinners, they were screw-ups extraordinary. God takes that and says, because of that, my grace will abound all the more. And the glory of the Lord will be all that more powerful, because people will see that you're not all that great. And guess what? Great things are happening anyway. So clearly, it is not of human origin. It is not of human endeavor. It's not because those human beings have any particular high giftedness over anybody else. It is because of the grace of God that the church glorifies God and abounds in God. So go and look at yourself in the mirror. Recognize that you're no better or worse than even the titans of Scripture. That all these people in Scripture are in many ways just like you and me. Mixed bags. Full of watching a wonderful documentary on PBS or HBO. Cindy and I watched Mr. Rogers last night, and that wonderful and tears are coming in. Amazing. I switched the channel to Real Housewives of Atlanta. I am a sinner. We're capable of great things as human beings. We're also capable of just awful stuff. My son is a chef. The boy is an amazing. I'll watch him put together a meal that is fit for royalty, and then eat a bag of potato chips. Don't tell me we're not messed up. Right? We're all that. But the grace of God, the good news of Jesus Christ is this, that God takes that. He does something wonderful. God takes your life and does something wonderful. That's the God we worship. That's the Lord Jesus we follow. And be the glory this day and forever.